Very beautiful, Don. That is Don you can hear in the background there, everybody. Bit of live music for us. We've not had that before at the Silver Coast Sao Martinho de Porto Meetup. And I've got a special guest with me. If I turn the camera around. You're very special. Come on. You can see the view of Sao Martinho de Porto. I've got to say, it's changed a great deal in this last week. A bit quieter last week, and now we're well into September. Very different. Big Phil's here too. Shout out to Big Phil. And we'll spin the camera around now. And so that you can see my special guest will be, look, Colin Ross Jones, everybody. Is that the name you like to use when you're the old guy? Sorry, you're going to have to stop making me laugh and cough there, Colin. How are you this afternoon?
I'm fine, thank you.
Really nice to have you here. And particularly great. I mean, are we going to go in for this? Today's show, you could say, is sponsored by the Sao Martinho de Porto Triathlon. Fancy it?
I can't understand anybody doing those sort of miles. What were cars invented for?
Exactly. Okay. So good luck to everybody who's taking part in the triathlon.
Very good luck.
Good luck. And we'll come back down here for a moment. Yeah. We're at the now world famous Palmeira Cafe in Sao Martinho de Porto. Great to be here this afternoon. Lovely day. Quite warm, isn't it? Beautiful view we can see out over the bay there. Wanted to talk to you, Colin, because you've been in and around in the community, I think, 2 or 3 years. We've been chatting on and off, haven't we? Thereabouts. Yep. And you have recently moved from Ericeira.
Yep.
Is that where you first landed in Portugal?
Yes. I found the house through the internet.
Yeah.
In those days, it wasn't easy. Mm-hmm. It had a 360 view of the house with an unbelievable view, and in those days we had to fly because it was December 2003. We had to fly from East Midlands Airport, where we parked the car, and it was
brilliant.
-5, and we arrived in Faro because that was the only flight at that time of the year. We arrived in Faro and we had all our ski gear on because we were so cold, and it was 25 degrees.
The heat hit your face like it does at Faro, right? Isn't that lovely?
So we drove up to it's a place called Ribamar, just outside Ericeira.
Yeah.
And I got halfway up the drive and I said to my partner Liz, we're having this.
Did you?
Yep.
Simple as that.
And it was a big 3-story property with 7 bedrooms. And I went back to Chester to my friends and I said, we're buying a big property in Portugal and we're going to run a bed and breakfast. And they went, plan it, Colin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you like?
Plan it, Colin.
Yeah.
So I then spoke to my elder brother, who far more sensible and far more brainy than myself. And he said, but Colin, he says, Liz has never been to Portugal before. I said, yeah, that's right. He says, but, you know, you've seen one house. Shouldn't you visit other places? So we went 100 miles north, 100 miles south. We looked at every beach. And we just were drawn back to Ericeira and Ribamar. And we went to the house and said, no, this is it.
So you didn't need to, but it kind of satisfied your curiosity enough.
Absolutely, yeah. But, you know, everybody has to search different areas. And you have to realise why.
Did you come here? Did you come and see this particular beach on your first visit?
Yes,
you did.
We did. Yep, we did.
You ruled it out at that point. It was just a house, was it? And the location just hit you 360 degrees.
Exactly. The house was absolutely on its own. There was no neighbours anywhere.
Yeah.
So then we went back to Chester. My cousin was a estate agent, and he said, "Yep, Colin, you've got to do this, that, and the other to the house." 3 weeks later, we sold it. Actually, we sold it to the son of Patchwork. You heard of Patchwork? The people the lady that went into Harrods and sold her pâtés.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So artisan producer.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we sold it to them and came out here on April the 9th, 2004.
Amazing. Look, we've got a low-flying aircraft. Don't worry. Oh, isn't that amazing? Then some sort of military aircraft, but nothing to worry about, I'm sure.
Then we started using the house was a 1986. We started using some of the toilets and things, and you'd flush the toilet and the whole thing would fall off the wall.
So you had a few jobs to do. Kept you busy, did it?
So we thought, hang on a minute, we're going to do a bed and breakfast here. So We completely revamped the whole place. We put new drains in, new sinks, new extended bathrooms, created some new bathrooms, so every room was en suite.
Yeah.
And we found we had, because it was 2004, and that funny game called football had Euro
Euros.
2004.
Amazing. That was a big thing for this country, wasn't it?
Our first guests were the England football band, 14 of them. But they gave us 5 weeks, so we had to get the whole place revamped in 5 weeks.
Okay, but what a great booking.
Which we did.
The official band or the band who play on the stands?
The bands that play on the stand.
You had them at your place?
Yeah.
Superb. Oh, incidentally, Colin, you just need to say that T-Duck is out on the Esplanade.
Hi,
do we call it that? No, on the beachfront here, having a little walkabout with a lovely bit of kit. We've got a nice steady bit of camera work. Thank you, T-Duck, for being
You're
with us.
welcome. I'm on Marginal.
On the Marginal, that's what we call it. And past the first bar there, I had a beer in there last night. It's a lovely place, that first bar. So thank you very much. Can you answer this question, T-Duck? Is Ubi on time for the fish and chips? Just because he's had a couple of British accents, I think he's given us a bit of banter, isn't he? Am I on time for the fish and chips? Can you check? Ubi's here, yeah. Ubi fish and chips. My skin, says Ubi, is slightly bronzed, but almost back to its pasty mayonnaise tone. Well, I'm glad to hear it. Nothing too serious happened to you then. You might probably put a lot of sunscreen on.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, not many people do at this moment. Number to send photos. Oh, excellent. Let's put that on the screen so we can get a photo from Wayne. 913-590-303. Let me just... I'll call it comms for now, and we'll come back to what happened to the English football band who stayed with Colin, and whether or not they got it done in time in the 5 weeks. Comms, please, then, to Portuguese number 913-590-303. Putting that into the comments now. Lovely, Wayne. Thank you very much. Or just email them to me, and I can put them on the, up at a different time. So, what happened? Did you manage to get it sorted in 5 weeks?
Absolutely.
Pulled out the stop.
14 builders there.
Really?
Doing it all.
Yeah.
Wonderful experience. I mean, their work in the morning was wonderful. They'd fall asleep in the garage after they'd drunk their port.
Right.
So the work in the afternoon probably wasn't quite as good.
Best work done in the morning then. Okay.
But yeah, it's all done. 2 days before we cleaned it all up, and in came our first guests.
Amazing.
It was. And we had one night where we got them to do a performance for us on our balcony.
Oh, superb. Great memory.
Fantastic memories.
And they had a good time in Portugal.
They had a wonderful time, yeah. Because
England did fairly well, didn't they, in the tournament, or not? Did England do well in any tournament since 1966?
I'm afraid I know.
You're a rugby guy, aren't you?
Yes, I know very little about football.
Okay, he's a rugby man, so he wouldn't know. How did England do in 2004, if any footy fans are watching? But you didn't get any of the team back?
No.
Okay, all right. Look, that's a lovely view down the beach, isn't it?
Fantastic.
That's our disability access there. How is our mate Sergio? We talked to Sergio, didn't we, about accessibility in Portugal? How's he doing?
Yes, he's doing very well. He's... We decided to sell, and we sold last November, and we sold to a gentleman who lives in New Zealand but travels here for his business that he's expanding through Europe, and therefore the property needed somebody who could arrange various things like pool cleaning and gardening and any work that needed doing. And our friend Sergio, who sadly has got MS, is a wonderful guy.
He is, yeah.
He's looking after the property for the gentleman.
Oh, great! That's a nice little gig for him. Then
it's a great gig for him.
Yeah.
He's
a man on the ground. He knows what he's doing. Well connected.
He does.
We all need a Sergio, don't we?
We all need a Sergio. It took me about 10 years to find somebody like Sergio who could help them.
Well, and then you moved.
And then we moved.
Okay, so have you got? Tell us where you are now. You've come away from Ericeira, which is, some might call that the southernmost part of the Silver Coast. Some people do include it, don't they? Not you.
I think it's just outside.
I do as well. I think it's
the Lisbon
Peniche.
Coast.
I think it's Peniche to Nazaré, don't you? Some people put flipping Aveiro in the Silver Coast. That's not right, is it? So we're going to go with Peniche to Nazaré.
Some people do all sorts of things.
Don't they just? We're disgusted, generally speaking, aren't we? Until they explain themselves.
Those old people.
Who doesn't like to do a disgusting thing first thing in the morning?
Disgusting old person. Yeah.
So, so from Ericeira,
Yep.
right into the proper Silver Coast.
Proper Silver Coast.
Tell us about that.
Yep. Well, it's an area that just attracted us for many reasons, but the main one is that Ericeira had become the first World Surf Reserve, and it started to change in character and busyness. So, for instance, in August, you would never go into Ericeira. It's impossible to park, and it's just they put little mobile units selling candy floss and all sorts of things. You just don't want to be in there. So
fine for tourists and visitors, but a bit unbearable for the locals. Right, okay.
Exactly. So
if you've got nothing to sell,
so we decided that we'd sell up, and after 18 years of running a bed and breakfast, it was certainly long enough.
Well, some people will remember you as the Basil Fawlty of Ericeira.
I was the Basil Fawlty of Ericeira.
Yes.
Liz was not the Sybil.
No, and you didn't have a Manuel. You had to be. You probably had to be Basil and Manuel, didn't you? All in one body.
I used to enjoy being rude to my clients. They seemed to like it.
What, as soon as you got a taste for it, you didn't. Oh, your brother's here now. Has he come to take you away? Have you come to make sure he's having his medication?
Yeah. Liz was. I can't hear you.
He needs some money for another drink.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mike, we're live.
We're live on air.
Mike, we're live on air. Why am I Brian? I'm calling you Mike, aren't I?
Another one.
Would you like coffee?
No.
Oh,
I'll take a coffee. Do you want pastel donato? Do you want pastel donato?
Yes, please.
Can we just? Are we going to talk to this man or not? Because we're live
No,
on the
you'll
internet.
never get rid of him.
Really? Okay. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to
Galown.
Oh, a Galown. Milky coffee.
Yes,
milky coffee. Yeah, the equivalent of the latte.
Yeah.
Oh, look, tea ducks around the train. Fantastic.
We found the Silver Coast, and initially, because I'd had a sea view, I wanted a sea view, and we were in the Bom Sucesso part, which is basically right at the mouth of the lagoon, Obidos Lagoon, or Obidos, I don't know how they say it.
Obidos, we could go with.
Yes, Obidos. And we were looking at a house there, and it all fell through. We even had João Ferreira come up and look at it for us, our friend João.
Yeah, our mutual mate João, João.
And he said, walk away, Colin.
Did he?
Which we did.
Right.
And then Liz found this other property in a community near the lagoon, but away from the mouth. And I walked into it, and it just felt right, and I loved it.
Well, you seem to be good at that, don't you? Oh, there's another barrel of beer coming in. The marvellous Nelson is just bringing us another barrel of Sagrish in.
Yeah, so
you've got a knack for walking into somewhere and saying, okay, this is it.
Well, you get a sense when you go into a house that you like.
Yeah,
and it just talks to you. And this house, it had been on the market 3 days.
Yes.
And we paid, unfortunately, we had to pay full up. But,
did you?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's it. We moved in there, and since moving in there, we found they have a lot of expats.
Your brother's taking our photo here. You're not impressed, are you? Come on, smile, Colin.
Yeah. Those Kodaks are very good, aren't they?
They are. When you get them back from the chemist, make sure you get 2 sets.
You don't get from the
And
not anymore.
It's all on.
Oh, okay, great, brilliant. Bonus.
And then we found that through walking our dogs, we found out that there's a lot of expats there, American, Australian, English.
Tell me about that moment then, when you discover kindred expats. You say you generally find that when you walk in the dog.
Yeah, we walk in the dog, and then all of a sudden there's somebody saying, we say that, oh, they're fine, and they go, oh, so are ours, you know.
Yeah.
And then you start talking, how long you've been here and all the rest of it.
And that's a great strategy for making new friends in Portugal. Have a dog. Get a dog.
I'm afraid I do make friends quickly, but
afraid.
But wonderful. And within a month, we have been invited out for meals to join them, to go to restaurants. And then we were at a 60th birthday party. Within a month, we were doing 3 times a week yoga at one of the neighbours' places.
Incredible.
It was wonderful. And one of the lads came with me on Sunday to go Karamulu, which is the festival of a bit like a miniature Goodwood that we went to on Sunday.
Okay.
wonderful.
Was it great?
Yeah, we had a great time.
Excellent. So
So
just
it's
got to avoid the expats with the pampas grass in the front garden, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But everything apart from that going really well.
We love it there. Liz is so happy.
Yeah.
She's even feeding another 14 cats locally.
Is she?
that are
That's her
stray.
real love and passion, is it?
But we're trying to get them muted and reduce the numbers.
Yeah. It's an issue, isn't it? It's an issue.
It's a big issue in Portugal. Even people, because it's a holiday area,
Yeah.
a lot of the properties are rented out. People seem to bring their animals and then just dump them.
Okay. So there's something to deal with there. Liz is doing a great job,
She
and
is.
T-Duck is doing a fantastic job walking us around the green and the beach. Sao Martinho de Porto into September now, and a little bit quieter. Have you noticed that as well in Foz and Obidos? Has it just suddenly
it
gone
has
quiet?
just gone quieter.
Yeah.
But compared with Ericeira, we didn't. Everybody said to us, "Oh, you'll see a difference, Colin, in July and August. It's crazy here, but it was nothing compared to what we were used to."
Of course. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Didn't know what they
So,
were.
to people, can we compare and contrast those again for people watching who might see this in the future as well? You know, a lot of people watching us will be thinking about moving to Portugal. They might be here with their first base camp and thinking about their next move. Comparing and contrasting Ericeira and the Silver Coast. Sounds like this is the right thing for you now.
It is for us. I mean, Ericeira's got some beautiful beaches.
Yeah.
The town itself's got 55 quality restaurants. Our last village of Ericeira had 14 quality, mainly shellfish and seafood restaurants. It was 35 minutes away from the airport. So those are, great things.
Yes.
But to get a quieter way of life and a different area, the Silver Coast here is 1 hour from the airport.
Yeah.
But an hour compared with 35 minutes in life is not
the end of the world, is it? Not the end of the world. Okay, and so you got this kind of peace or more peace premium, I suppose, is what you're dealing with.
I think so. Yes, and the restaurants we're finding all very high quality restaurants with not too much high prices that are comparable to what we were used to in the Ericeira Rivermar area.
Good to know.
And it's great. There is a thing on Facebook called the Silver Coast.
I was going to call it the catering group, but the dining out group, right?
Yeah.
Tastes of the Silver Coast.
Tastes of the Silver Coast.
Taste of the Silver Coast.
They have some wonderful restaurants, including the Taste of India, which we've been to about 6 times now.
Okay, Taste of India, good recommendation.
In the Caldas.
Yeah.
And Caldas is a wonderful city, and unlike Mafra, which was our local county town near Ericeira, nearly everybody here seems to speak English, which suits me down to the ground, being very poor with my Portuguese.
I have noticed that, I've got to say, Colin. I've noticed that, but isn't that a blessing for you in particular? Okay, so we've...
He does look old, that guy, doesn't he? Who is he?
Both of us.
He used to look like, what's his name? Bruce Forsyth.
All right, my love, give us a twirl.
Give us a twirl.
Legend. Would have joined you, says Wayne, but Novo Banco visit took longer than normal. Well, that's only to be expected, isn't it? Allow extra time if you're doing a bit of work with the Portuguese banks and bureaucracies and so on. Make a day of it.
Well, I have a trick there for you. If you're over 65, you should be able to take the.
Do you exercise that right?
I didn't. After waiting 3 hours for one bank, I decided that next time, even though I'm as fit as a fiddle, I'm going to play the card of the old age.
Was it a matter of waiting so long you actually turned 65?
No, actually, we got to the counter after 3 hours, and she said, "Oh, it's my lunch now. Can you come back this afternoon?"
Oh my word!
So when we came back this afternoon, we pressed the.
Oh, you did? You didn't say I didn't fight in two world wars for this sort of treatment or anything like that?
No, I didn't fight any world wars. Come on, how old do you think I am?
I'm joking. How's my brother from another mother? Says Frank in the Algarve. Is he talking to you or me, do you think? Probably me, isn't it? I think, We're good, Frank. And we cannot wait to do this with you either here or down there, my friend. Great to hear you. Great to see you in the chat. Thanks, mate. So is it Obidos near the castle that you've now moved to? Question from Beverly.
Yeah, we're 15 minutes from Obidos on the actual lagoon.
On the lagoon.
Which the lagoon used to go all the way up to Obidos Castle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And of course, as years go by, it's getting greener and greener. And,
Yes, yeah.
To the extent that on the way to Obidos now, there's actually a high-quality hotel built in the ground.
Oh,
All
I
the
see.
rooms are in the Qatar.
That was once water.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
amazing.
And you see all these air conditioning units coming out, and all you see is the grass. And all the units are, and you can tell from the car park, it's quite an expensive property.
Sounds amazing. Do you go to Cafe Cogumelos? Cogumelos.
Oh yes, yes.
Is that really, is that close to you? The roundabout
10
we
minutes
spoke.
away.
Okay, that is a wonderful place, isn't it?
I think so, yes. As long as you don't mind the mosquitoes.
Okay, because it's near the water.
Yeah.
There's a barbecue area there, isn't there?
Yeah.
People kayak and paddleboard.
Yeah.
Seen any
Apparently,
Have you seen any flamingos yet?
No.
Okay, you've got flamingos on your lagoon.
But apparently, the guy that owns that
Steady on now.
is the president.
Allegedly.
The president of the Junta Freseira.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so an important,
So it's
significant.
a good guy to go and spend your money with.
Absolutely. So we recommend that Cafe Cogumelos mushrooms,
Mushrooms.
between
They
you
do
and
a
me.
wonderful black spaghetti with prawns.
Do they?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
With the
Gorgeous.
squidding pasta, I'm guessing. Okay.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Very good.
Beautiful.
And a beautiful location looking out over the water.
It's a fantastic location. The only downside is they're only open until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I have noticed that. You get there, don't you? About 4 o'clock. Sorry,
Thank you.
kitchen's closed.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can do you a bit of cheese and bread, but that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so lunchtimes, right?
Lunchtimes.
Okay. Excellent stuff. Cafe Cogumelos, great location. Watch out for being nibbled by mosquitoes. Charles Mitchell is here. Wow, Charles. You popped into a few man caves back in the day. You might remember Charles. Lovely to have
right.
you here, Charles. Hola, my friend, he says, and great to hear your voice, Mr. Munson voice. Thank you, Charles, and great to have your company with us this afternoon. Hope you're doing well. And again, just like with Frank, can't wait to sit with you here one day and have a beer with you. That'll be such a lovely moment, Charles. And Capricorn 12, Chris, maybe he could pop out any moment. This fella's flying backwards and forwards from the UK like a swallow, not just once a year, but like hundreds of times a year if he can get the flights. Morning, well, good afternoon to you, Chris. It's afternoon for both of us. I can't cover up that mistake by saying good morning because it is somewhere. It's not for you. It's not for me. Oi, oi, back right at you. There, Chris. Colin, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Is there any other advice you want to give to people thinking about moving to Portugal? I mean, you talked about those specific areas, but it sounds like it's been a good decision for you.
Certainly. I mean, the cost of living here and the way of life. I mean, we don't go to a cafe every day like a lot of people do. But it's just so friendly. And the only thing about the Portuguese is they'll try and help you as much as they can, but watch their driving.
I think that's a price worth paying, isn't it?
Yes.
I like to say different driving style. I mean, you're a motors man through and through, aren't you? So what's your beef then with Portuguese driving?
Well, when I used to travel the UK, I used to do 10,000 miles a month, and I would see probably one accident a month.
Okay. Yeah.
Here I do 3,000 to 4,000 miles a year, and I see 2 to 3 accidents a week.
Right. Okay. So
take your own conclusion from that.
Yeah, and be careful out there.
And expect the unexpected.
Expect the
The
unexpected.
indicators are an extra that they don't really understand.
It's kind of optional.
Optional,
Right,
yes.
okay, yeah.
Like essential oils.
Yes.
I mean, essential oils.
Yeah.
Look how old I am.
Yeah.
If they're that essential, why haven't I used them?
Hey, if I had my rim shot punchline sound effect, I would have. Don't knock it until you've tried it.
Exactly, that's what they say.
Maybe you just haven't met the right massage therapist yet. Would that be right?
Yeah, maybe they could be called optional.
Optional oils. It just doesn't sound as good, does it? The marketing is not there. There's my neighbour. Do you know this vehicle?
I do.
The Jeep. What's that about?
It's a Portuguese Jeep.
It's a collectible now, isn't it?
Yeah.
The UMM. Jeep.
UMM.
It's got a lovely yellow one in perfect condition.
Built, I believe, down in Setúbal.
Setúbal. Okay, where Jose Mourinho is from. Oh, I would love a Coca-Cola if I may, please. That is not product placement, anybody, but if Coca-Cola are watching, we're open to it.
I should have a coffee coming, I think.
Obrigado. T-Duck, he looks after us really well. Colin, thanks so much. I think we're going to have a bit of a musical interlude now.
Good. Something
Cheers, mate.
interesting.
Good. Yes, and now on to something interesting.
Thank you.
All right, all the best to you. We will flip our camera around. And look at that. Where's that going? Oh, it's being shown on the camera, of course. And is that your nata?
No, isn't it yours?
No, it's yours.
Oh,
I think
it's
you
mine.
asked for that. So I'm spinning the camera around. And so we're going to give people the beach view again. The beach is you can just about see it. I think there's a thin band there, and people just ambling about on this beautiful afternoon, Sao Martinho de Porto. Thanks very much to Colin, friend of the show, friend of the community, who is now going to enjoy his coffee. A bit too close to my computer for my liking, but easy. Okay, and I'm going to turn my mic down until we get Don back into the hot seat now, which Colin has warmed beautifully. And we'll be back in a moment with a bit of mandolin music, I think.